What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I got something a little bit different for you. I've been asked a lot in streams lately, what chapter would I like to see next in Dead by Daylight? So instead of giving you one, I'm going to give you 6. These are the top 6 chapters that could and should be in Dead by Daylight, and hopefully we see them in the future. For every single chapter I provide here, I'm going to say the killer, survivor, and map that I'd like to see. And we'll just dive right in. If you got anything other than the ones I provide here, let me know in the comments, and let me know your thoughts on the ones I share here. These are in no particular order, but we're going to kick things off with Candyman. The conversation's been going on so much lately because of the movie, and it kind of seems like this is going to happen either way, but definitely has to be on the list. Of course, as for your killer, has to be Candyman himself. Specifically for me, I'd like to see the Tony Todd OG version of Candyman. And I think this whole chapter should be the OG version of Candyman. Probably won't be. We'll probably see the new version of Candyman if we ever do get one. But I would like to see the OG version. As for Survivor, of course, you gotta have Helen. She's a wonderful final girl. She does scare the crap out of me at the end of the movie, and it haunts me in my dreams to this day. But Helen, for the most of the movie, is quite nice and very much relatable and likable. So I'd love to have her come to Survivor, and there's really no other options in terms of the OG Candyman. And for the map, a little more tricky with Candyman, as there's not really a main location other than Cabrini Green itself in Chicago. So I would say the living spaces that we see with all the graffiti on the walls, and basically where we ultimately end up finding Candyman. You could also mix in a parking garage, etc. But Cabrini Green, in a nutshell, would be a pretty cool map, and I think it'd be pretty creepy to play there as well. As for my number 2 chapter, I'd love to see My Buddy Valentine. It's long overdue, and since we have, Valentine's Day coming up here in just a month, it'd be a beautiful time to drop a My Bloody Valentine chapter. I still think this is the ultimate chapter that Dead by Daylight doesn't have. For a killer, of course, you have Harry Warden rocking the miner suit. Would be so cool to hear the breathing being right behind you when you're in chase. Would love to see it. As for Survivor, I would say My Bloody Valentine, if they're going to do one, it end up being the remake version of My Bloody Valentine, which is fine, but in that case, I think Survivor should be Axel, and to have Axel face off with Harry Warden again would be pretty cool inside of Dead by Daylight. As for the map, this one's obvious, Hanniger Mine. It's gotta be it. Could you imagine running around and chasing survivors or being chased inside of a mine shaft? Would definitely be cool, and you could have multiple levels on top of that if you design it correctly. Would love to see a My Bloody Valentine chapter at some point. For my number 3 here, Child's Play, I still think it's very possible, and especially because we just got the twins, I think you could take that mechanic and turn it into a Child's Play chapter. So rather than having Charlotte and Victor, you'd have Tiffany and Chucky. Tiffany in her human form can be carrying around the doll version of Chucky that we know and love, and then you could then release Chucky and he could go out on a chase, and then Tiffany can come finish him off. I think it'd be a pretty cool way to make it work, but also I'd be okay with just having Chucky. I mean, I still think it's very possible. The hag is short, okay? You could have a nice short Chucky. It'd be neat to see. Not to mention, for a survivor, you gotta have Andy, probably adult Andy. I don't think we need to be killing any kids inside of Dead by Daylight, but adult Andy from the most recent films, we'd be a-okay with that. We'd love to see it. I think Alex Vincent would happily share his likeness with Dead by Daylight. As for the map, I think you just do a toy store. Why not? And I think Chucky's power in the game should actually be the ability to hide in toy boxes, in the good guy doll boxes. And if these are displayed all across the map randomly, like you could in a toy store, it'd be a little trickier in other maps, but, they make it work with Jigsaw, so I think it'd be fine with Chucky. Just have these Child's Play dolls all over the map you can hide in, and if you pop out of them, you can get an instant hit on a survivor, something like that. Still, Chucky deserves to be in the game. Would love to see it. As number 4, Hellraiser. Well, I think Hellraiser's a little more niche. I still think it'd be really cool to see Pinhead make it to the game. I think any of the Cenobites would be okay, but Pinhead is kind of, he's the most popular one. You kind of have to have him be the killer. As for Survivor, you throw in Kersey Cotton in there, the OG final girl from Hellraiser. I think that'd be great. For map, a little trickier, but I think this opens a door where you could just make a hell map. I mean, you could literally just make hell. Chains hanging all over the place, bodies put up on walls and things like that. Just as creepy as it could be, fire, things like that. Hellraiser, just go as creative as you want to. I mean, they put Pinhead in space, okay? So you can make a hell map without anybody even questioning it. I think it'd be super cool. Would love to see Pinhead make it into the game. Remember when Deathslayer came out? Remember when that teaser happened with the chains and all of us thought it was Pinhead? I was pretty hyped, okay? So I would be hyped again if that happened. Now, number 5 here, this one's a little more unrealistic, as Stephen King doesn't like to be in video games. I don't know if you've noticed that, but The Shining killer Jack Torrance. Could you imagine a gimping Jack Torrance with Jack Nicholson voicing in his likeness, just yelling out behind you constantly with his gimp and just coming at you full speed? I think that would be awesome. I think it'd be creepy. I think it'd be suspenseful. Would love to see that. For Survivor, of course, you got to have Wendy. As much as I'd love to put Danny in there, well, you could put Ewan McGregor, but we're not going to do that. We're going to put Wendy in there, OG Shining, just have her creepy-ass screams over the place and over-the-top acting. That's what I want to see. That needs to be in Dead by Daylight. As for the map, this is the part that makes me the most excited. Could you imagine the Overlook Hotel in all its glory? A huge map like that, and then you also include the outside part of the map and have the maze, and the ability to run through the maze while being chased by killers would be so cool. Could be complicated, I'm aware of that, but I think there's a way to block off certain areas where it's not as complicated of a path, including the hotel itself as well. If you can make things like Larry's work in Dead by Daylight, I think you can make the Overlook Hotel work, and I'd love to see it. And at number 6, another Stephen King one here, but you have to mention it. You can't not mention it. It was going to be a top 5 list for me, but I can't not say it. The killer, of course, has to be Pennywise, the dancing clown. Bill Skarsgård doing some voice work would be great as well. Would love to see that. I think if you're going to do it, it has to be the remake. As much as I love the OG miniseries, I still think that the remake is where the popularity is, especially with this new generation. So I would say definitely go with the remake. Have Bill Skarsgård come in, do Pennywise, the dancing clown. For Survivor, I would say adult Bill would work. You can't kill any of the kids. Because my original thought was, hey, let's put Georgie in the game. I think that'd be cool, but you can't kill the kid, even though he dies in the movie and pretty brutally. I just don't think you could do that. But hey, put Bill in there, adult Bill in there. I think it'd be really cool to see. As for the map, you could just do the regular house, but I'd like to just see the sewers in that whole underground little home base Pennywise is rocking down there. Sewers would be creepy. That's just the wetness in general and the dripping all over the place. I think that would, in and of itself, would be pretty creepy. Being chased through a tight corridor. There's something claustrophobic about being in the sewers. So I think that'd be really cool and would love to see that. But hey, there's my top 6. I think at least 3 of those are very plausible, and we could see them in the very near future. My Buddy Valentine, please, for God's sake. Valentine's Day is coming upon us once again. Are we really going to blow it for, like, what is it, the 5th year in a row? We're not going to have a My Buddy Valentine chapter on Valentine's Day? Come on. Make it happen. We all want to see it. But, hey, that's my list. Please, let me know any more you got in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the ones I provided. But that's going to wrap this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. And, of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.